Good evening. I just wanted to show you a little website that I found that I think will be helpful in creating our final project. So you have learned how to plot points on the coordinate graph on all four quadrants. You've learned what a transformation is, translating, reflecting, rotating. Your final project for this unit is to create your logo. And so we've talked about how to do this and all of the ways that I want you to make sure that you follow the directions and such. But I wanted to show you this website so that you can do it a little bit easier to get it to look like what you want it to look like first, instead of having to do trial and error by hand and take all of that time erasing and trying things and trying them over again. So I'm just going to show you a quick example on how to use this. And once you've got it on here the way you want it, then you can go to your worksheet and you can write down all of your coordinates and your instructions for how to translate and how to reflect. Remember, you need one translation and one reflection for your logo. So I'm going to show you my logo is going to be a couple of B's because I'm Brooke and I like to read books, and so that's what mine's going to be. So I'm going to do some line segments, and you can play around. I love using this technology because you can't really break it. You can play around, you can delete things, you can go back and redo it. And see, there I skipped a couple of, I just thought they were going to connect and they didn't connect and I had to go back. So this is what I wanted to show you too, even the errors. So I wanted this to look like a B, and that doesn't really look like a B. And this is the beauty of using this technology, is then I can go in here, this far right one, and I can say, nope, just kidding. That's not quite how I wanted that to look. So let's undo some of these. Instead of taking the time to do everything by hand, I can play around with that on here. And a lot of times my students that are doing it by hand, they don't get it to look like what they want it to look like, but they've spent so much time working on it that they don't want to have to go back and fix it. And so it just comes out kind of, this isn't really what I wanted, but I'm not going to take the time to erase everything and go back. That is the beauty of using this technology, is then we can go in and say, yep, this is exactly what I wanted it to look like. All right, that looks a little more like a B to me, but not exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to go back a couple of places and delete some things. Okay. I also want to show you, while I'm deleting some things, if you do this as a polygon, then when we rotate some things around, we'll go down this way. We'll say this will be my B. When we rotate some things around or when we translate them, so we go back and connect to the first one. All right, there's my shape. In this box right here, 2 dots and a line, we're going to reflect and we're going to translate right here. So if I'm going to translate my B, click on my old shape, and then it asks you to use a vector. So if I'm going to take this bottom right corner and I'm translating it to where do I want the other bottom right corner, let's say over here, then it will translate my shape for me. And then I can look at that and go, yep, that's what I want my logo to look like, or no, let's undo that. And I don't have to do it all by hand. So if that's what I'm a fan of, okay, that one looks good. Now, just to save time, I'm going to show you if I was reflecting. I'm going to take this one and reflect it. And I'm going to click on my old shape, and I'm going to click on the line that I want to reflect it over, and boom, it reflected it over the x-axis there. So if this is what I like and this is what I wanted it to look like, I can go back on my worksheet and write down all of my old coordinate points and give my instructions for translating it where I ended up this way and reflecting it where I ended up this way before I switch and hand it to my peer for them to check it out. So I hope that you enjoyed this a little bit more than taking the time to do it by hand and having to erase and go back, and you can kind of picture it this way a little bit easier. All right. Thanks, guys.